Hello, my name is Rebecca, and last year I worked on teaching you how to teach young children how to get them prepared to learn how to read. We spent a lot of time talking about the first stage of reading, which is the syllable letter, or hearing sounds before you write them down or learn to read them. You need to get a lot of those sounds in your mind before that, because we learn to read auditorily through our ears, and then we learn to put what we hear to a letter. So I want to review with you what a phoneme is. A phoneme is the smallest unit of sound in a word. Let's think about phonemes. They are not equal to letters. When I say phonemes, I'm not talking about a letter, I'm talking about a sound, the smallest unit of sound. So for example, in the word he, e, two phonemes. But in the word heat, eat, that's just three phonemes, but there's four letters. So phonemes do not equal letters. It's not the same thing. So I want to practice thinking about phonemes, and I want you to count how many phonemes are in a word. So I have made a list, if I can find it. There it is. So let's think about these words and how many phonemes are in these words. So the word time, t-i-m, time, t-i-m. That's three phonemes, or three sounds you hear in that word. But there's four letters, so you see phonemes and letters are not the same thing. What about the word big? B-I-G. Three, and there's three letters. What about the word new? N-oo. N-oo. Just two, but there's three letters, okay? What about the word guess? G-S. Oh, there's three, but there's five letters. So I would write three here. Ooh, this word. This is one of the hardest words to teach. This is the word though, but there's so many letters in it that it's very confusing. So the O. Two. Oh, this one's a little bit tricky too. Think about this word. B-ox. B-ox. The letter X is the only letter in the English language that has two sounds. K-s, k-s. So box has four phonemes and three letters. That's interesting. What about the word tough? T-a-f. Just three. And that brings me to another point of digraphs. So a digraph is two letters that make one sound, such as sh, th. And th can be vocalized or not vocalized in the English language. So th, if you'll put your hand on your neck, th, you can feel it vibrating when you say it that way. But th can also be th, th, and there's no vibration with that. Two different sounds, but it's the same digraph. Ch. So these digraphs have two letters but one sound. Okay, well, let's think about also phonics. When people talk about phonics, they're talking about visually reading letters. But when people talk about phoneme awareness, you can do phoneme awareness with your eyes closed. B-I-G. I'm just listening for how many phonemes are in that word. And so it's very good very important to introduce children to a lot of sounds before you assign those sounds to letters. And it takes some mental maturity before children are ready for that also, and visual maturity for them to distinguish between letters. That's very hard. So we need to be patient with them and not expect them to read overnight. When I taught kindergarten, some of my children would come to kindergarten the very first day. Are we going to learn how to read today? And no, you're not even going to learn how to read this year unless you're just really ready to. It takes a long time. So yeah, it's a little disappointing when they find that out. So the level of learning reading that we've been talking about the most so far is the syllable level. So the syllable level is phonemic awareness, and you do that you teach with word play, lots of play, because play is how children learn. If you don't let them play with it, they're not going to learn as much, and if they don't have fun doing it, they're not going to learn as much. Research shows that when children are enjoying themselves, they associate that enjoyment with learning. They learn more. It sticks in their brain more. We remember it longer. Okay, so we do that with alliteration. Just to review, alliteration is words that have the same sound at the beginning, such as she sells seashells by the seashore, all starting with S. And then we also do a lot of rhyming, so children hear that ending sound that's the same. The cat sat on the mat. Cat sat mat. So hearing that, they're going to, those have the same sound at the end. That will make it easier to learn how to read cat, sat, and mat. All right, and then we teach them how to segment syllables. And I've demonstrated that with my name several times. My name is Rebecca. That's 3 syllables. All syllables have a vowel in them. If it doesn't have a vowel, it can't be a syllable. Okay, and so that brings us to the next stage of reading, and that is onset and rime, where kids can hear the beginning sound and then the second sound of the syllable. For example, the onset of big is b. Sorry, my dryer just went off. Ig. Okay, so B, the letter B, the B is the onset in that word. Then rime is the part of the syllable that includes the vowel sound. So the onset of big is B. I'm going to write that down. Big. Ig is the rime, the part with the vowel. Now, there can be 2 letters in the onset. Like, what if we did ig? That's the beginning consonants, and ig is the ending sound. Let's do the at sound. So this word, at, does not have an onset. Ooh, that's tricky. But I can put a C in front of it. That can be the onset. K, at. K, at. I could put a B there. B, at. Bat. All right, so as you can see, onset is rhyme. Onset and rhyme is a really fun way to learn how to read. So next, I'll talk to you about a way to teach this. I think it's so good to use good literature when you're teaching children to read and practicing, and for you to read something really good to them and then pick out things in it that you want to teach. So, for example, I have the Beginner's Bible. I love the Beginner's Bible. Karen Henley is just a wonderful, wonderful person, and she wrote the Beginner's Bible. And it's always good to tell children, this comes from our Bible. This is from the book of Genesis at the very beginning of the Bible. And you can see my grandchildren have loved on this book. All right, so the name of this story is The Beginning. All right, I'm going to read it, a little bit of it to you, and then we're going to pick out some words in this story. In the beginning, the world was empty. Darkness was everywhere. But God had a plan. God separated the light from the darkness. Let there be light, he said, and the light turned on. He called the light day, and he called the darkness night. And this was the end of the very first day. And so I'm just going to stop there and talk about what are some words that were in that story. Well, I wrote some of them out. Right, the word in, and I would only introduce one word at a time to the children, but I did this to save time for us. So I would write the word in on the board. Actually, should we start with in? Let's start with dark. What sound do you hear at the beginning of dark? That's the onset, children. The onset is the beginning sound. What do you hear? D, d. What letter makes that sound? Do you know a letter that makes that sound? D, d. D, that's right. Okay, so I'm going to write a D. And then the rest of the word is spelled A-R-K. Dark. D-ark. In the beginning, everything was dark. All right. So I hear a D at the beginning. And then that's called the onset. Can you all say onset? Good. It's the beginning sound. And then the rhyme is arc. Arc. And it has the vowel in it, doesn't it? A is a vowel. Okay, D-arc. Ooh, you know what we could do? Well, I'm going to save that for, well, no. You got to see this. This is great. If we change that D to the letter B, what does B say? B-arc. Bark. Oh, that's what a dog does. He barks. Yes, good job. What if we change that letter to an M? Mark. Mark. Yes, that's a name, and it can also mean just writing on something. Yes, good job. Okay, another word I saw in that book was God. God is spelled G-O-D. What is the beginning sound in that word? Yes, the letter G. G. And what's the rhyme in that sound, the ending sound? Odd. G, odd. So, this might confuse you, teachers, because you might be thinking, wait, that's got 3 phonemes. Yes, but when you're teaching onset and rhyme, you're teaching something a little bit different. You're teaching the beginning sound and then the part with the vowel. And the reason that's good to learn is because you can change the letter at the beginning and learn a whole group of words all together. Odd. Ooh, what if we put a D there? D-odd. Is that a word? I don't think so. But we could just play with it. What if we put an N there? Odd. Nod. Yes, that's the word, nod. Okay, so you can see how fun that is. And I would only do a few words at a time and then read the story again, maybe, and do more words. You could do had, you could do plan, you could do light. Let's do light real quick. That's a fun word. Oh my goodness, it has lots of letters. It goes like this, L-I-G-H-T, light. What's the beginning sound in light? Oh. And then the rhyme is it. I-G-H-T. Wow, that's a long word. Very good. Okay, so as you can see, kids are going to need to be in this stage of learning for a long time. And it's great to teach a family of words. And I'll talk about that more in my next video. But for example, the at family. So that's just a rhyme. But if I add, and so it's all by itself. But if I add a C to it, I've got k at. If I add a P to it, I've got p at. If I add a M to it, at, mat. And so that makes reading so much faster and helps them feel so much more accomplished if you teach reading this way with word families. And I have sent a list of word families before to Melody, but I'll send them again if I need to, if you all don't have that. Okay, so thank you for listening. This was a long video. And let me know if you have any questions. Melody can communicate to me through WhatsApp. All right, you all be blessed. Bye-bye.